We're going to take some trash, some thrifted finds, and turn them into some cute Halloween treasures. And it's all going to start with this curbside find. And when we're all done, it's going to look like this. And to get started, we're going to spray paint that light and some thrifted items, and we're going to spray paint them black. Now, I did prime these two items first before I spray painted them black. Even the thrifted garland got painted black because it's for Halloween. And all the glass domes on the light, I've turned them up because they're going to be bowls for my Halloween centerpiece. Now I need some Halloween plates for my display, so I'm going to decoupage some Halloween napkins to the back of these plates. And right here I am just taking some double-sided tape and I'm going to use it to get this napkin down to 1 ply. Did you know that Mod Podge makes a dishwasher safe version? That's what I'm using here. Not that I ever expect to put it in the dishwasher, but at least it's a little more tolerant of water if it does get wet. I just put down a layer of the Mod Podge and then I apply the napkin. And I'm applying the napkin to the back of the plate. So the top of the napkin, you'll be able to see it when you flip the plate over. Once I get the napkin down, I go over it with one more coat of Mod Podge. And once it's dry, I'm going to sand off the extra napkin. Next, I'm going to take this thrifted vase, but I think you can get these from Dollar Tree. Now I want to spray paint just the outside of the vase, so I'm going to cover the top with painter's tape so I don't get any of that paint inside. I take my X-Acto knife and I just trim off the extra tape. I take it outside and I give it one coat of purple spray paint. I'm going to put a light inside so I don't want full coverage with the spray paint. Now I blow the dust off my Cricut because I haven't used it in a while, and I found this design in the design center and sized it to fit my vase. And you can see I'm totally out of practice trying to get this design on the transfer tape, but I got it done. Now you'll have to let me know in the comments below, are you like me and you have a Cameo silhouette or a Cricut and you just don't use them that often, but once you pull it out, you do find a few projects and realize, I don't know why I don't use this more often. It really is a lot of fun to use. And I'm going to use it again later in the video. Now I need to get a few more things done before I can show you how some of these things turned out. In my last video, I did some fake bake, and that was planned because I had asked Michael to bring me some plaster of Paris, and he brought me a 25-pound bag. So I need to do some more fake bake and use up some of that plaster of Paris. Now I got this mold at Michael's. It's super cute. It's a mummy mold. I think it's for cupcakes. But anyway, I'm going to use it for these little fake bake cupcakes. Now don't do what I did. Unless you want your molds to stay right where you leave them, you want to put them in something where you can move it so they can dry somewhere else. Because I needed my workspace back. And I forgot to say how easy it is to make plaster of Paris. It's just 2 parts of the powder to 1 part water. I let them dry overnight, and then in the morning, they popped right out of the molds. And they are just too cute. And then I just used some craft white acrylic paint to paint the mummy. And I don't know why I was being so careful doing the inside and the eyeballs, because I was going to go over it with black. Now here I needed to be careful, and I just used a fine tip paintbrush. And I still got some in the wrong spots, but I just went over it with some white paint. Right there's one of my goofs, but it was an easy fix. I just did some yellow on the eyes, and this one was done. When I was in Michael's, all of the Halloween was half price. So I also got some cookie cutters. And this clay, because where I get my IOD clay, they were completely out. And so I thought, what the heck? I'm going to try this Model Magic. It's also by Crayola. What I liked about it, it was really nice and soft to work with, and you could get it in a small quantity because, clay dries out if you don't use it all the time. So I was really happy with this. Now, I haven't used it on a redesign by Prima mold or an IOD mold, so I don't know how that works out. But you can see I did it on the little skeleton hand, and it kept breaking. But on everything else, it worked fine. And just like regular air dry clay, I painted it before it was completely dry, and it worked out fine. And then to add a little more detail, I went over it with some white puff paint, or I think they call it puffy paint. And here's how all the fake bake looks on my cobweb plates. I also added some puffy paint eyes to the bats, and I added a little black paint to the skeleton eyes. Next is a perfect beginner jigsaw project. Now I saw these cute little mummies on Pinterest and knew I just needed to recreate them. So I just took some scrap wood and I cut the mummy out with my jigsaw. Next, I took 5-gallon paint sticks, and using my little Harbor Freight mini saw, I cut them in half. I gave my mummy one coat of white paint. And then I did a little triangle in black, and that's where I'm going to put the eyes. The painter sticks that were cut in half, I painted them white, and then I sized them to go around the mummy. Right here, I put the sticks down so I could figure out exactly where I want the eyes. And then I just did little dots of white paint for the eyes. And I used fabric tack glue to glue the little sticks to the mummy. I wanted my mummy to have a little bit of a worn look, so I sanded all the edges of my mummy sticks and the mummy. And when you get your mummy sticks all sized, it's a good idea to keep them in the right order because I had a little trouble remembering. I just couldn't get those sticks back. It did take me a sec, but I finally got them in the right spots, I think. And I had so much fun making this mummy. I made 2 of them, and then it just continued to grow. I decided I needed a cat, a fat cat, a skinny cat, a pumpkin, and a ghost. Here's the fat cat and my pumpkin. Now remember, I was using scrap wood. That's how they got to be different sizes. And I normally don't work this way, but that's just the way this project evolved. You can see I have my bat there, and so I had a lot going on. And I was just doing a little practice before I did them for real on my black cat. Next, I needed to drill a hole in the top of my pumpkin because I'm going to use part of a spindle for the pumpkin stem. and I needed it just a hair bigger, so I took that drill bit and I just kind of circled it around and made that hole a little bit bigger, and my spindle fit perfectly. And I used Tite Bond wood glue to glue my spindle into place. And keeping with the rustic theme, I sanded all the edges of the cat and the pumpkin. And when I was showing you the cat earlier, I forgot to say that I took my jigsaw and cut out that little wedge at the top to make the cat ears. I used the Waverly Antique Wax. I love that wax over black. I think it just gives it such a warm look. And so I decided to use it on the pumpkin too. I used brown floral wire to make my tendrils on my pumpkin. And I purchased this wire on Amazon. I thrifted this little bag of fabric, and it had the perfect homespun fabric in green that I could use to make a bow for the pumpkin. And I love little finger bows, so I used this fabric to make a finger bow. Now, if I can do a finger bow on my fat fingers, anyone can make a finger bow. Before I attached the bow, I wanted to put down a little Spanish moss. And here's how my skinny little ones turned out. I just had so much fun doing these. And they're so simple. And here's how my fat cat and my two mummies turned out. And, I had to make one a girl. Now, they're going to be in my centerpiece at the end, but they get a little lost because there's a lot going on there. So I wanted you to see what they look like just by themselves. And now here's how everything turned out. However, we have a couple more Halloween DIYs to do. But you have to let me know, do you have a favorite so far? For our next project, I'm going to take these two emptied tanks, and I love Rusty and Crusty, but I needed to spray paint them because I'm going to use some vinyl, and I didn't think it would stick to the surface. So I got them both painted. And I went back to the Cricut Design Center and I found two Jackal Lantern patterns. Now I have 5 great nieces and nephews, 3 girls, 2 boys. So I'm going to do one for the girls and one for the boys. Now here I've picked out the design. Obviously this is for the girls. I removed the bow because I'm going to do the bow in a different color. And this is the perfect project for my purple glitter vinyl that I had thrifted. It was a brand new package. I think it was marked $2.99. Now this is one of my favorite things about using vinyl is when you pull back the extra vinyl and the design pops out. I got both pieces of the vinyl weeded, and I mentioned before that I have not used my Cricut in probably over a year. So I was a little rusty and I did something dumb. Now this piece of transfer tape came with the glitter and I used it on this vinyl, and that was my first mistake. It's a very sticky transfer tape. So it came right off, the thing stuck to it, but I could not get the vinyl off the transfer tape to stick to this tank. So this was a long process. So just make sure when you use your Cricut that you use the correct vinyl or the correct transfer tape, because it makes a huge difference. So I'm going to speed through this, but I just want to show you that if you just keep trying, you can eventually get it done. You'll have to let me know. Have you run into these problems too when you used your Cameo silhouette or your Cricut? And it was a good thing this was such a simple design, or I would have never been able to complete it. I even had to put the nose on by hand. Now here I'm using the same transfer tape, and that transfer tape came with this glitter vinyl, and it worked much better. Now for the second jack-o'-lantern face, I'm using my favorite transfer paper, and I'll put a link down below. I don't know the name of it, but I'll put a link in the description box down below. And I am using Oracle 631 vinyl. And this is how easy it is when you use the correct transfer paper. I did cover both jack-o'-lanterns in the outdoor Mod Podge. And here's how they turned out. Now my niece has 2 little boys and my nephew has 3 little girls, so they'll each have one for Halloween night. I think they'll like them. Next, I'm going to make this cute Halloween basket. I bought the fabric from Joann's, and you really only need 2 different fabrics for this basket. And then I bought these ribbons from Michael's. This is a great way to buy ribbon. You get a really nice assortment, and you get 2 of each ribbon. And because they were Halloween, it was half price. I'm going to use these thrifted baskets. They were the perfect size. They're just about identical except for the color, and they have the perfect rim for the project today. I spray painted the rim black, and here I'm taking the fabric just to see how much I need because I'm going to cover the bottom of the basket. I think that's a yard of fabric, but I didn't know what size the basket was going to be when I bought the fabric, so I have quite a bit of fabric left over. Here I'm taking the contrasting fabric and I'm just tearing it to size because this is just going to go on the inside of the basket. Now the bottom of the basket is going to have batting, so I pretty much am doing it the same way. I'm just trying to figure out how much I need to just cover the bottom of that basket. And you just have to be close because we're going to turn under the top edge of the batting and glue it to the basket. Now I think the easiest way to do this so everything goes on straight is if you started at 12 o'clock, then you would want to go to 6 o'clock. Then you go to 3 o'clock, then you go to 9 o'clock, and just work your way all around the basket. Now that the batting's on, I'm going to take a piece of cardboard and I'm going to cut it to size so it fits on the inside of the basket. Once I get that cardboard cut to size, I'm going to set it aside, and now I'm going to take that contrasting fabric and I'm going to put it on the inside of the basket, and I'm pretty much going to do it the same way I did the batting. I'm just going to turn the top of the fabric over and glue it to the inside of the basket. And I just work all the way around the basket until I get all of the fabric down. And as you'll see here in a minute, I'm just a smidge short, but no big deal because it's a no-sew basket. It's an easy fix. I just cut out another piece, but this time I'm going to glue it down on all 3 sides. Kind of like I'm hemming it just so I don't have a raw edge showing. And then I'm going to cover that little spot that I missed. Now I'm going to take that round piece of cardboard that we cut out and I'm going to cover it in batting and a piece of fabric. Now I'm going to glue the fabric to the bottom of the cardboard, and this cardboard will finish off the inside of our basket. It will be glued down and hold all the fabric that we just applied in place. Now I'm going to take that original piece of fabric that we cut out and I'm going to apply it around the outside of the basket. And here I'm just cutting off the extra fabric just so I don't have to have that much to turn over and glue down. Now I said apply to the basket, but I really mean to glue it to the basket. And here's what it looks like when I'm done going back and forth across the basket, getting each side glued down. And now I'm just going to go around and I'm going to glue all those little spots back up. But this time I'm going to go work my way around the basket. Now I thought originally I would do a ruffle around this basket and I would use this cute shark fabric, but I changed my mind and I decided to do it in an orange. I thought it needed a nice pop of color. I keep my sewing machine out. I have 2 sewing machines, and one I keep out all the time with this ruffle foot on it, and I use this ruffle foot to make this ruffle, but you could easily just take the fabric, run a loose stitch through it, pull the stitch, and ruffle the fabric by hand. I use my ruffle foot a lot. I don't sew a lot, but I guess I make a lot of ruffles. So anyway, you can get that ruffle foot on Amazon. I think it runs about $24 and it's easy to put on. And to finish this basket, I'm just going to take a ribbon and I'm going to glue it over that raw edge of the ruffle, and this basket's going to be done. Now this basket's going to be for my nephews. I didn't have time to make everyone a basket, so I decided to make one for each household, and they can just put their candy in that they're going to pass out. So I still need to make one more basket for the girls. But anyway, I thought this basket was done, but I hadn't glued the inside in yet, so I'm doing that here. And now this basket is done. And look how cute it is. And here's how it looks on my Halloween table. Now it doesn't have any candy in it because I can't have any more candy in this house. So one of the cats and the mummy are hanging out in that Halloween basket for now. And here's another view of all the items that we made in this video. And you know, most of these things were either thrifted, trashed treasure, or scrap wood. And we can't forget these cute little jack-o'-lanterns. And I think this will be so cute, full of candy, just not at my house. And that mirror in the back leaning against the wall, also a thrift find. I think it was less than $5. I don't know what it'll be eventually, but for now, it's a great Halloween backdrop. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like this kind of video. Subscribe, leave a comment, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And we'll see you next time.